So, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. It is 10 o'clock in Sydney and Melbourne, and I'm going to tell you that I'm pumped. I'm very, if anyone knows that if I'm ever going to talk about something, I'm going to talk about it because it works. I'm going to talk about it because I've got clients that say, Tom, it helps us win business. It helps us run our business more effectively. And I thought today was a really good time to actually get Seth to talk to the whole industry, because as far as I'm concerned, it's been 4 days since the New South Wales government said open for inspections and open air auctions are allowed. And I've got to tell you, I have been inundated with listings and scheduled auctions, which says to me, as the rest of the country does this, we are about to go into a rebound stage. We have got a shortage of listings. Buyers surprisingly have been there, but we've got a shortage of listings. And I know that it's going to take time to actually, in the months and years to go forward, it will be a longer days on market. Once the sugar hit is over and we start going back down to business and we're going to have, higher unemployment, I know that the days on market might go a little bit longer and people aren't going to be selling property like they used to in 6 days. And Seth Watts, who is one of the owners of Campaign Agent, which is a business model that I believe by the end of 2020 will be as stock standard as what a signboard or a virtual tour or a video is on a campaign. And that is that vendors will be able to pay for their marketing at a later time. Hello, Seth in Victoria. How are you?
Oh, good day, Tom. I'm fantastic. How are you, mate?
I'm very well. I'm very well, and I'm glad I've got you. I'm glad I've got you on here. Like a lot of people that are in Melbourne will know of you. A lot of people in Melbourne and other parts of Australia are clients of your original business, which is what was the name of the business? Is the name of the
Neo. So we've been doing printing for the last almost 80 years, Tom. 30 years for real estate. So we've been part of this game for a very long time.
Now, let me tell you, Seth, when I actually said, hey, listen, I'm more than happy to talk about your business to the market, it's because my model of real estate is really simple. Real estate is no longer to me about the Manila call center approach where you've got strangers interrupting strangers who don't want to talk to an agent with commission breath. And I couldn't help it. When I look at the REB top 100 and I look at the Ray White agents there, the Marshall White agents there, the Jealous Craig agents there, when I look at the Fletcher agents there, when I go around and look at the Dijone agents, I see in the top 100 REB, which got announced last week, they are clients that are using Campaign Agent. So tell me more about Campaign Agent.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Tom. And it's been interesting. Those top 100 agents have indeed gravitated to the model, which for those of you who are not familiar with it, you can think of it like an afterpay for real estate. So this is about giving vendors choice in the living room. It's sold as the simple question of, do you want to pay now or pay later, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor? What's right for your financial situation today? And that simple question it was pertinent, Tom, 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, before COVID, and boy, has it become important now that COVID's in the market, because what it does for those top 100 agents and everybody else who uses the product is it removes friction from the conversation. So if you think about it, when you're sitting down in front of a vendor and you say, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, you need to invest $6,000 to get the right outcome, to get the best price for your home. And then you say, do you want to pay by credit card or by check? That's a friction process. You've just put a roadblock in that conversation where they've got to stop and thinking, well, how am I going to pay for that? What am I going to do? With our product, what they're doing by saying, do you want to pay now or pay later? The immediate option is, great, what's right for you? We'll give them a savings if they pay now, and we'll give them flexibility if they pay later. But it means that the conversation can roll on, and that it's no longer the client panicking about how much cash do I have on my credit card. It's about the client having a conversation with the agent about, how do we maximize price? How do we maximize the marketing campaign to reach the right buyers and get the best price in the right time frame? And as those top 100 agents, many of whom, to be clear, could get the cash up front, before they rolled out our product, they were fantastic at getting paid up front. But what they found is they've given choice, Tom, two things happen. One, the conversation becomes about getting the right price and getting the right marketing schedule, not paying for it, which is a strategic conversation. It's no longer a blocking conversation. And secondly, they get more funding. So by giving that choice, vendors now embrace the choice. They will often do staging. They'll do some minor renos. They'll actually sit there and they'll do the right campaign for the right property. And so it's been a fantastic outcome, especially in COVID, right? Because you've got all these vendors who are bringing stress. They're really concerned about the market, and they're really concerned about what they're doing. Is it right? Can I afford this right now? Is the timing right? So by taking the cost of advertising off the table, it allows the agent to really focus on, great, let's focus on price and getting a great outcome for you, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, which is just working better than it ever has as the market's become more unsure.
Okay, so Seth, I want to on the surface, it sounds too good to be true, because essentially you're a real estate agent sitting in front of an owner, and you say to the owner, hey, good news, you don't have to pay me now. It's your choice. Pay now or pay later. What is the difference in cost if a person pays now versus pays later?
Yeah, great question, Tom. And we can just think of, credit cards are another way to pay now or pay later, right? You can put it on your credit card, and that's another way to do it. So where do we fit? So a couple of interesting things about how we solve this particular problem. So to answer your first question, the difference is 5.9%. So right now, Tom, with all the press sort of closing down right now, the average campaign we're processing each and every day is $4,000. So if you want to pay now for a $4,000 campaign, it's $4,000. And if the vendor wishes to pay later, it'll be $4,236. In other words, 5.9% more. And our clients, when they ask the question, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, do you want to pay now? It's $4,000. Do you want to pay later? Pay $4,236. It's not a lot of money. So that's the difference. But there's a couple of other cool things that we do to make that product appealing in the living room. So firstly, that $236, it's not interest, it's a fee. We don't, Tom, charge penalty interest. So there's been other products in the marketplace, and there are other products in the marketplace which try to charge penalty interest. So if a vendor takes forever to sell, they'll turn that $236 into $1,000 if the vendor can't pay. Our product's a little different. It's a fixed fee. We're not here to penalize people and put them into a debt trap. And that makes it a really easy sell, because it means that the vendors aren't entering into like a loan. And it's a lot cheaper than their credit card. Secondly, we give them up to 3.5 months in the first instance, and we extend it to 5.5 months before they have to pay the loan back. So it's not pay now or pay on settlement, it's pay now or pay later. But we give people this fantastic 150-day window, which means that they've got the time to sell it. If it doesn't sell at auction, or if it's a private sale, they can get a great outcome, have a decent settlement, and the vendor can enjoy the benefits of paying later. The other nice thing, which people don't think about a lot, right, is that because we get paid back at settlement, the vendor never actually pays us back. They never actually have to physically give us a check or give us their credit card. It comes out of settlement. Again, from a friction point of view, it doesn't feel like they're paying it back. So it means that the vendor just is like, wow, this was like magic, Tom. We sat in the living room, we did a 2-second application. We never really had to pay it back because it came out of settlement. What a great experience. So it's a really nice consumer experience for the whole thing. From an agent's point of view, and you may ask this in a bit, Tom, but I'm going to jump the gun a bit. From an agent's point of view, it's great because they don't have to ask tough questions. They don't have to worry about chasing money. And especially, right, if the property withdraws, and I know that that's not an area we spend a lot of time talking about, but if the property does withdraw, it's all care and no responsibility for the agent. So the agent can walk away with his or her head held high, and they don't have to turn into a debt collector. So they're not making that horrible phone call where, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I know you're bitterly disappointed because the property didn't sell. I know you're frustrated because you withdrew the home and we didn't get the activity, but could you pay me $5,000 for marketing? I mean, you show me a single one of your 25,000 members, Tom, who does that conversation well, and I will happily bow down to them.
It's a shitty conversation.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
You just can't do it well. really different conversation when we have it, right? G'day, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor. This is Seth calling from Campaign Agent. We're the third-party company who has delivered a loan to you and done everything we said we'd do. We need to now collect it. That's actually a commercial conversation. It's not emotional. So that works really well. So in that sense, not only does the agent not have to do it, the vendor gets a better experience because they're not dealing with somebody they have an emotional anger towards. They're dealing with somebody who's a commercial conversation, and they tend to be quite civil. And we have a really fantastic collection rate. So it's actually, if I could be so bold, even on withdrawal, it's a better experience for the client. And that may be key to why it's been successful.
Okay, so Seth, and I'm just thinking to myself, like right now, and a lot of the conversations I've been having now is with business owners, and now more than ever, business owners seem to be looking at their spreadsheets, looking at their balance sheet, looking at their zero P&L report, right?
Yeah.
Now more than ever, this issue of cash flow is I mean, people are doing all sorts of things. You know, they've run into the government stimulus and taking advantage of, you know,
Absolutely.
JobKeep and what have you. This, to me, lends itself really good in terms of cash flow for business owners.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like you're essentially taking all of the risk of non-payment of advertising or property taking longer to sell. And it's funny, Tom, we have worked with all of the big businesses around the country. And in some cases, we are talking about businesses that are spending 20, 30, 32, 33 million dollars on VPA. And without naming names, the best of the best, even when they would sit down and tell me, Seth, we get 100% of cash up front. Every single client we've worked with has had really substantial working capital tied up in advertising. In one case, we had a client that had $1.4 million worth of shareholder funds that they'd paid to realestate.com, but they hadn't yet received back from the vendors. So in that sense, under our product, that disappears because we're going to fund 100% of the campaigns. We're going to approve 100% of the listings. If you've got, whether it's $20,000 of your own cash tied up in advertising or $1 million, that is all going to come back to you. And you know, I had one client who literally did $300,000 dividend distributions in the first 3 months of rolling out our product because we had cash flow their advertising. And the other nice thing, Tom, is as the market, or if it slows, if it takes longer for properties to sell, it's no longer a case of having to pay out realestate.com bills and not getting the corresponding income coming in. So we essentially mean that there's no stress. You're never going to have to dip into your mortgage. You're never going to have to dip into your overdraft to pay advertising bills that you haven't been paid for. Yeah, and to be blunt, you know, as much as we love helping vendors, this piece of the pie, this, you know, making real estate businesses stronger, that's why we exist. Like, you know, we are here to make real estate businesses bulletproof.
Well, Seth, I'm saying right here that this product is a product that is win, win, win. I'll go through it. Why is it a win for a vendor? Because I'm convinced that the home that's the best marketed home will get more bums on seats. More bums on seats is more competition. More competition is the better price. So I think at the moment, there's a few agents that have got a little bit reclusive and they're going in with a bit of a softer approach and they're saying, I'm going to save this few grand here on REA. And what I'll do is I'll just do this no frills campaign. No, you're negligent. You let your vendor stand out. You got to stand out to win out. iPhone 11, when they launch, they tell the whole world. They don't keep it a secret. And I believe that every home that goes onto the market has the obligation to make sure it looks the best and it outmarkets the competition. So that means Facebook, video, LinkedIn, Insta, floor plan, whether you want to go off and do print media, whether you're doing Premiere on REA or the priority product on domain. All I'm saying, and in addition to that, what you're saying to me, Seth, is they can actually use those funds to actually enhance the property by styling or anything like that. Correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so you turn around and you say the vendor wins, because the worst that's going to happen for a vendor is that they're going to overmarket their home by $5,000. The worst that can happen if they don't is they're going to undersell it by $100,000, right? So we know that they're a winner. Okay,
Especially in this market.
100%. Then we move on to the agent. The agent, as far as I'm concerned, as a principal, we talked about the balance and cash flow. Then we look at the real estate agent. I mean, the truth of the matter is the agents that are making money are the ones that are on the shopping list. How do you get on the shopping list? You run an attraction business. You're out there. If they're not seeing you offline, they're seeing you online. If they're not seeing you in print, they're seeing you on digital. If they're not seeing you there, they're seeing you with a letterbox drop or a magazine, or they're seeing your ads being boosted on Facebook to 10,000 people, not 1,000 people. So the agent wins out of more marketing, and then the business owner wins out of more marketing. And as far as I'm concerned, I even think the buyer wins, because buyers need properties flying at their faces now. You know what I mean? Like the way that we live in this social isolation, we clearly know that some people aren't out as much. So what do? Let the property find the buyer. Right?
Absolutely. In a world of information, it's our job as an industry to provide that information in the most appealing way possible. Like, we're here to create that emotional connection, and we need to do that through marketing.
Okay, now I'm going to be on the table. I was always going to align myself with a company that was involved in this category, because I knew it was going to grow. I just simply knew that vendors needed to have that friction point taken away. Most vendors didn't have $5,000 or $10,000 hanging around. And what I did is I'd spoken to a number of the organizations. In the end of the day, I mean, two reasons. Number one is Seth is been in real estate with my clients for nearly 30 years. So I knew that he wasn't going to be involved in something that was going to not be good. But the second thing is, it's not clunky. And we're going to do this online, which I'm not a person that likes to demonstrate tech online, but I just want to picture the scenario, and I'm going to share the screen in a moment. Seth, I want you to actually show what may happen by a vendor or an agent in the living room, because it can actually be done without the clunkiness that you have with many things that you apply for on this kind of product.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tom, I mean, when we sat down and designed this, and we spent a year doing the design, is we sat down and thought about the living room conversation. And we thought about, we benchmarked an 18-year-old cadet. He's just come out of high school. He's fantastic. He's got energy. He can talk. He can engage, but he doesn't have a lot of experience. It had to work for him. And the counterparty had to be a 60-year-old vendor who was not technically savvy. So you be the judge, but I just wanted to, let's walk through what an application looks like. And this is the living room experience. So I'm going to just jump in here. Let's pull it up. Tom, you got me?
Yes, I have. I can see you very clear.
Great. So we're going to enter a little bit of information, and we're going to put in the date of photography, Tom, and we're going to stick in right now. Our average campaign is $4,000. So that's that $236 fee. Got some pay later dates. I'm just going to shoot through some of these options, but in most instances, we apply.
Yeah.
Tom, you make a choice. Now, if you're on your phone, you're literally just tapping pay now or pay later.
Yep.
Only piece of information we need from that vendor, Tom, and this is just a government regulation, is their date of birth. But especially in Queensland, the stuff will all come through from their CRM. So this information in the real world will be coming back from Box and Dice or my desktop or whatever it is your clients are using. This demo site I've just added in. And Tom, that's it. So the date of birth, I continue to signing. I summarize it. And the vendor's Cindy clicks. She agrees, Tom, and she signs on glass, which could be your iPad or your iPhone. Linwood here clicks, they agree, and they sign. And Tom, in those three screens, so we entered the date of birth. We clicked agree.
Yes. That is it.
That is it. We ask for a quick feedback and they're done. So that whole process, and I am not exaggerating, we're done now, takes about a minute. It sucks everything from the CRM. So agents aren't sitting there in the living room mucking around putting information in. They are quite literally entering a date of birth and they're continuing. Now, because we're going to accept everybody, provided that agent has given us a valid sales agreement or authority, we're going to accept everybody. We're not going to do a credit check. You can sit there with great confidence that after doing that simple application process, you're going to be rocking and rolling and getting that thing funded. And I would challenge you to find something simpler in the financial world anywhere else. And I think that's kind of our obsession with how do we make the living room conversation work. So anyway, that's it.
Listen, it's a winner. I'll tell you why. It's fast, it's good, and it's reasonably priced, very reasonably priced. In fact, I would say, so here's my situation. If I was selling my house, Seth, and I know what me and my wife are like in our decisions, we would have the $4,000. But what we would do is we would actually choose the ease of that 60-second sign on a glass screen, because I don't want to go off and be withdrawing money. I just want this thing to sort of, that's the way that I am. I mean, I'll give you an example. I bought this mic, which I could have bought at the shop, and the price wasn't much different, but I bought it out of simplicity, right? The simplicity where I actually just went, doof, tapped it on there. I could have gone to Harris Technology, right? But I used Harris on Amazon. I just thought, bang, 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 it's done. Because I think what people like is fast, good, easy, right? That's the world we live in, whether it's Spotify, whether it's the way you hop into an Uber, whatever it is. And I just want to remind every girl and guy here, think about this. You're going to a vendor. You've already got to sell yourself versus three other agents. You've already got to sell the concept, hey, choose auction instead of private treaty or whatever method. And then if you've got to go off and say, oh, by the way, I also want your $4,000 or $5,000. Can I please have it? What we're saying is, that friction point is eliminated. Now they'll pick the best agent, not the cheapest agent. And I like that, right? Because that's the right thing for a vendor.
And Tom, I reckon there are a lot of lessons, not just for this product. I think for agents in general, is figuring out how to reduce friction, how to make that yes process, how to make the contracting process easier is something that we can all learn from. I mean, the biggest, most influential conversation my business partner and I had was when we got started. We sat down with the CEO of Visa in Asia Pac, and he was telling us a story about when he launched Tap and Go in Australia. And he said within 6 weeks of Tap and Go, the difference between having to enter your PIN when you're doing a little EFT payment or tapping and going increased their transactions by 800% within 6 weeks. And that realization that if people can do it without friction, they will change their behavior, should be a lesson for all of us. And certainly when you're in the living room doing listings, anything you can do to make it easier for somebody to sign up is going to help you close more deals. It's that simple.
Okay, Seth, Susan's going to put your contact details in the comments, but you're even happy at the moment because of lockdown that you're happy to field any, direct inquiries. Your email is Seth at
campaignagent.com.au. And Tom, yeah, any chance to speak to people in the industry, I love. So would absolutely love to chat and sort of talk people through.
All right. Now, I know that there's going to be a few people that are going to say, Tommy, he's promoting campaign agent, this and that. Hey, I'm promoting this because I've got my mates at McGrath, a lot of them, my mates at Marshall White, guys that I actually train in my real estate gym. I know that they're using this as an unfair advantage. And I actually know that a couple of them have said, oh, don't go tell off too many people. And that was months and months ago, because they know they can go into a listing presentation and say, hey, don't worry about the marketing. It's all good. And they do what you do there, which, by the way, that is that's smooth. That was very, very easy. That was literally, like, to me, it's date of birth, bang, 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 60 seconds, done, finished. So, Seth, thank you so much for coming on. To everyone that's watching, get ready for the rebound. I believe one of the pieces of dialogue you've got to be telling people right now is, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, we're going to get a heap of stock coming on the market in spring. You'd rather be selling when there's actually less stock. Come on earlier now, and do what some smart people are doing, Seth. And I don't know whether you're doing it, but I can't get over the amount of people that I've spoken to that are pushing for the sell high buy low. So they're actually going to go off, sell their property now, thinking to themselves that they're going to be able to buy an opportunity because they think that there might be a further dip down the track in pricing, which may or may not happen. I've just got a question here. What's your view on that, Seth, by the way? I mean, what's your view?
We've been really, to be blunt, surprised how resilient pricing has been. Certainly, as everybody in this world knows in the industry, volume is significantly down right now. But Tom, we're seeing green shoots already. We're seeing our top clients start to really lean into the market now. So everybody's been smart. They've pulled back on cash flow. They've pulled back on marketing for the last 4 weeks. But my biggest and best clients now are spending serious coin and getting into the market. I mean, we have just seen digital campaign, print campaign, letterbox campaign flying through to really start to now engage, because as people come out of hibernation, they want energy, connection, they want people, they want to transact, they want to move, people want different housing. I think this is going to be, the next 6 weeks are going to be the biggest opportunity for new brands and existing brands to relaunch, to make their mark and to position themselves that we've seen in 10 years. It's a huge opportunity. Easy to waste though, very easy to waste.
Yeah, I've described it, Seth, as coming out of an airplane that you've been flying to Dubai and you've had people in first class, business class economy, and then you've come out and there's a bus picking you up, and all of a sudden it's a reset button. It doesn't matter who you were, how big you were, you're all on the bus. It's a level playing field. And what will happen is whoever can solve more problems in the current market, there's going to be some new companies and new products emerge, Seth, out of this. And in 5 years, we're going to look back and say that was a gift that was badly wrapped because there was some entrants that came in that actually went off and solved problems that others couldn't. And I think this is one of them, by the way. I mean, you were around before COVID-19, but I just think that you just got to make it easier for people to actually put a home on the market and bloody do a decent campaign.
Yeah, totally agree. And Tom, never before in history has there been 6 weeks with no newspapers, no marketing, market reduced. I mean, for both challenger brands and existing brands. To your point, if you don't redefine yourself and either reestablish your position or establish a new position in this new market, new challengers and you watch market share change like it's never changed before after this, because never has the market seen a reset like this. And brands need to really be thinking about that, and agents as individuals really need to be working hard now.
All righty, Seth. Thank you so much, guys and girls. I'm going to sign off.
Did you want to answer the question?
Okay, let me see. So, Tom, Seth, is there a cost to the agent or agent's office? Yes, it is. So what it is sorry. No, that's
no,
not.
there isn't.
There isn't.
Yeah,
sorry,
there's nothing.
There is no.
The agents and the offices pay nothing. It's just the vendor. 100% vendor funded.
Sorry, Susan, I missed that. Is there any other questions that I may have missed, Susan?
That was the only one.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to anyone that's watching, I've got a product that my mate Matt Steinwade and I, who's in one of the top agents in Australia, we created a product called VPA, the system, online and offline, where we've got all the templates and all the scripts and dialogues. And I'm going to give one of those away free of charge, the VPA, the system, the product. I'm going to give it away to a girl or guy that actually shares this on their Facebook account. On their Facebook account, I'm going to actually give it away. Susan, can you pick a winner by tomorrow, 5 o'clock?
Roger that.
Roger that. Thank you, Susan. All righty. Seth, stay healthy. Stay
likewise,
safe.
Tom.
I'm going to speak to News Corp later on today. I have a funny feeling that they may also, they put a pause on their papers. I don't know if you're obviously aware of that.
Absolutely.
I just want to check up and see where they're at with things. But I've got to tell you, I've taken my suit to the dry cleaners. I've got an auction on Saturday. I've got to.
Tom, I got to say, you're looking healthier, fitter, and much better of our COVID. It's obviously doing some things right for you.
Seth, I've worked out, and that's a bit of a reset button too, because I've worked out it's actually healthy sleeping in your bed more nights at home than more away. And it's healthier to eat food that you prepare versus food that's given to you at hotel rooms or eating what they serve you on a plane. And I'm fitting in exercise because I don't have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to get to an airport. So there have been positives. I mean, like everyone else said, from a financial point of view, I had 150 conferences cancelled. Every conference after March the 14th got cancelled, and I've accepted that. But there's good bits to it. I've gone off and I'm doing things in the real estate gym and online. But I have a funny feeling, Seth, that whilst corporate travel overseas and maybe conferences with 10,000 people in the room are a long way away, I do feel there is some normality coming back in, because the amount, even as I've been talking to you, my text messages come in. I can see there is stock being listed that hadn't been listed for 2 months. And
there's going to be a backlog. It's going to get good.
All righty, Seth.
Thanks
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Tom. Thanks, everybody.
See you. Bye-bye.